Welcome. We're so glad to have you.
Hey guys, we're gonna have to restart the whole thing once again because we didn't have sound up until now. So this is gonna be great. But now we do have sound. So my name is Slavic, and we decided to do Rewritten live. And I didn't press one button right here, and there was no sound for the last 3 minutes. But now, since we do have sound, why don't we go ahead and introduce ourselves again? So yeah, Sana, you want to kick it off?
Of course. Hi, I'm Sana. Love that we're all live and we get to see each other while social distancing on here and connect with people on Facebook and YouTube and just being in person. So I'm excited to see what conversations we're going to carry.
Mm-hmm. Hi guys, I'm Ina. We're here live and I'm really excited to be a part of this. We're going to be going through a few questions and speaking on a few topics, so just stay tuned for that.
Hey everybody, I'm Pavel and I am excited to just hang out with all of my cool friends. All of y'all are awesome. So enjoy because they're cool.
Hi guys, I'm Luba. Welcome. We're so glad to have you.
And I'm Liz.
And I'm Lizzie.
That's right.
There is a difference.
I'm Jonah. My name's Jonah, and I'm excited to be here with all of you. Thanks for watching.
Jonah, it's really good to see you, man. And I do like the mustache, no matter what the comments I make.
I knew that.
That's awesome.
So, Sana, you want to just kind of tell us a little bit about what we're going to do tonight?
Yeah, so tonight we just kind of have an idea of connecting with one another, kind of seeing what each of us is up to during quarantine, some fun icebreaker questions, talking about some subjects too, like questions, kind of diving deep and really getting an understanding of what this season has entailed and how we are dealing with this season. You know, we're all in the midst of it, but each of us obviously is going through different parts of it. So it's really, I think, going to be insightful just to listen to it. Each of you talk about it. So I'm excited for this. Kind of kicking it off, you know, I'm going to go ahead and kick off our first question.
So our first question is, give me 1 second. Okay, so our first question is going to be, how do you react when life crashes in on you? Like, what are your default responses, the things that you run for comfort, relief, or escape?
Oh, wow, that's a loaded question. Can you repeat that again? It just sort of flew.
Just to break it down, pretty much when things go bad in your life, what do you run to? What's your comfort? Where do you go? And how do you deal with things that aren't so pleasant in life?
Is ice cream an option?
Ice cream is always an option.
Always an option.
Who has ever used ice cream in that situation?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, everyone's hands are going up. I don't know if y'all see that.
I guess I'll kick it off and then you guys can join. But I think for me, the biggest thing is when I need to run to something. I think a lot of times I kind of retreat into being alone just because I need some time to kind of clear my head. And it's weird because I've always thought that I was an extrovert, but I think I'm an extrovert, introvert. I don't know, because I like the time of being alone and kind of trying to work through the things that I'm going through. I'm actually preaching on Sunday about this, about, you know, lessons in isolation. And one of the biggest things that I'm preaching about is solitude, you know, like basically withdrawing yourself into spending time with the Lord and kind of going into normally, you know, we're so distracted nowadays. And I think for me, it's just going and turning everything off and trying to work that with the Lord. I think that's one thing that I do. What about you guys?
I can go. I think when things get like really, really bad, the first thing I do immediately is call my mom. I'm always like just calling her for like comfort. And usually she just, she helps me to just really like calm down and not get anxious. Cause like I get really anxious sometimes. And so she's kind of just like she's like my foundation. She helps me kind of just like cool down a bit, and then helps me to kind of be like work it out and then figure it out. And then usually after that then I go to like just being alone, because she doesn't live anywhere near me, so that's why I think I call her. And then I just same thing, and then I kind of just like spend some time alone and try to like work it out, and then eventually I do start praying about it. But I think definitely the first thing I do is go to my mom.
Aw. I mean, that would have been my answer too, but I feel like that people make fun of me of. No, I'm joking. Moms are awesome.
Pastor, what?
No, I'm joking. Moms are awesome though, because so many times I have so many deep conversations with my mom, and yeah, moms are awesome.
Moms are the best.
Paul, what are you running to?
You know, I think like everyone knows the right answer. The right answer needs to be and should be God always, but that's not always the first thing we run to. You know, I know in the past, right now, I'm not doing that because I like devoted myself to watching like one or two movies a week, and that's like my max. But in the past, I used to run to Netflix, or even in the past, like when I was not with Christ, I'd run to a cigarette when I'm stressed, or listen to like just listening to music that will help me get my mind in a state where it won't find its it won't almost like won't have to face reality, or kind of like almost like escapism, you know. And something that I know is it almost seems like it's such a trick. It seems like it's the most difficult thing to run to God, but you know it's going to be the most rewarding if you do that in that moment. And I think that that's something that I always have to fight for, is to actively think, okay, if I run to God, he's not going to let me down. It's always going to come out on top, you know. But some other things that like, it's not, I think maybe sometimes it's not always you can even run to God in the midst of that, but then also find like practical things to help like self-soothe. I don't know, like music can still help it, as long as it's not like a functional idol, or working out can help soothe, or reading can kind of like distract you. But when it becomes like an ultimate end, I think that it can become a problem, you know.
Yeah. What about you guys? Well, girls.
For me, I would say I'm more of an extrovert, but when it comes to like difficult situations in life, I tend to withdraw, and I'll just kind of stay quiet for a little bit. And I have a prayer journal too, so I'll just go to that and I'll write everything down and kind of like get my thoughts organized and collect myself. And then after all of that, once I'm calm and ready to talk to someone, I talk to usually my dad or my mom or my sister for the most part, because we're really, really close. But yeah.
What about Jonah? Where's he at?
Honestly, in that situation, kind of like what Pablo was saying, like should be God. And every time I think of that, you know, but normally what I end up doing is texting like a really close friend of mine, kind of letting him know where I'm at so that they can start praying for me, thinking about me, you know. And then after that, I start getting into prayer mostly.
Yeah.
Hey, Jonah, I wonder who that friend is.
No?
So curious.
No, it's not you, dude. That's for sure.
He said no.
Hey, I do have a question about Ina's. Ina, when you write in journal, I mean, like, do you write like your friends' names? Like, do you write "I'm just mad at Slavic" or "mad at someone"? I mean, because if you do, we would probably want to see that journal.
No, that journal is hidden away only from my eyes and only between me and Jesus.
So we are written in there, yeah?
Not necessarily.
she didn't mention you because
only good
she doesn't really.
My prayer journal is not all about my difficult situations. It has a lot of highlights too. So you probably made it somewhere there.
Wow.
Good answer.
Thank you.
Good answer.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Good
I
one.
don't know.
Who didn't go yet? Luba and no, Luba didn't go, right?
Yeah. I think for me, I definitely start with the ice cream because that always helps. But I think it depends. If it's not serious, I'll just text my best friend or this girl right here, my sister. If it's a little bit more serious and I feel like maybe I'm getting anxious or feeling a little bit more emotional, I'll usually just kind of connect with God and give him my burdens and accept his peace in its place. And I think that keeps you from making rash decisions that you'll probably regret later on. But I would say that definitely ice cream, and then some text messages, maybe some air hugs, and then definitely Jesus for some real peace right there. But I think it's important to definitely go back to the place where you can truly find true peace versus seeking it from. I mean, I think people can help us process things, but God is the one that knows our heart and what we're truly feeling and the emotions that we are processing in that moment. And I think that he can truly kind of address those things for us. But how about you, Elizabeth?
I think the more I think about it, I actually like to surround myself with people, not necessarily to escape what I'm thinking about or what I'm struggling with, but actually being around people and just, especially people, I have really close connections with, just kind of puts me in a better place mentally, because I can be very negative, against myself. Like I can be very self-deprecating sometimes. So being around people I love just generally brings out that joy and happiness for the people. It actually makes me happy. So, going through and just talking about like the good old times, or just something that they've just, reached some kind of success, or they went through a good, event or something like that. It actually makes me happy for them. And then I kind of can, when I go back home or when I'm by myself, it kind of puts me in a better place to think about what I'm going through. And of course, like through that time, of course, there's encouragement. Encouraging others actually encourages me as well. So that's a big thing too. So praying about that and giving encouraging words. Well,
I don't want to. No,
Hi, Stella. Stella's on.
Hi.
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 Hey, girl.
Hi. Who else is on?
Who are you with?
And
D. Hello, people.
Hi. Anyway, going on with the conversation. Kind of. I'm not sure they know what's going on, but anyway, that's what makes it so much more interesting. Kind of like a small group, like you're halfway through a really deep conversation, somebody walks in like, "What's up, guys? What's happening? Yay!"
That literally happened yesterday to us. Literally.
That's awesome. So what's it called? What about who didn't go yet? I think we all went, right? Sana, did you go?
No, I didn't go.
Oh, go ahead.
I want to say collectively all your answers.
that's why she went.
Wow, you must have a lot of times of like that you are going through a difficult time if you need all of those coping methods.
I think how Luba put it best, in each different season, you cope differently in every season. So I think there are your highs and lows, Alex. So yeah, I could definitely say you probably cope one way in one way, or another. But I think in terms of just what I've recently found myself is more so what Pablo was talking about, running to Netflix. That has been something that I have been mindlessly going to, and because I've been so overwhelmed in every area of my life, it's so easy to just have that playing and not thinking about anything around you. Just a mindless way to kind of listen to a TV show or something like that. And really, what I've noticed is I've had to really reel back and set a limit on how I spend my time, and really coming back to being like, okay, what am I using my time with this, and running back to God and really reevaluating certain areas in my life. So it's been an interesting way of trying to cope with like being.
Cool. What's the next question that we have? You have the list.
Actually, I was just gonna text Luba, but Luba, do you wanna ask your question that you had earlier? The impact.
Ooh, Luba's got a question.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was like, what is she talking about? Yes. Who is one person that has impacted you the most? I mean, a living person, or maybe someone that you personally knew versus someone like in history that you never met.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Maybe Pavel. I believe you had some.
Right.
I have this answered already.
Okay, Sana, you go, girl.
No, I don't. I have to think about it.
Sana doesn't have role models.
Sana.
It is my role model.
Or maybe I'll start, and then you guys take a minute to think, or half a minute. For me, my biggest role model was my father. He was my best friend. He was such a good man, not perfect, obviously, but a good man, and I've learned a lot from him. And he impacted me the most. I think in the most difficult times, he impacted me the most, meaning that his integrity in those times, and his ability to kind of buckle down and kind of search out, the best solution to the things that he's going through, or maybe we as a family that we went through. But he definitely impacted me from being a mentor spiritually, but also as a father figure, and as a husband, for example, to see that example in our family. So I think that, I hope that we have those types of fathers, but if not, our Heavenly Father is that. My father's passed away since, so I now have just my Heavenly Father, but definitely a huge impact on my life. And to this day, we talk a lot about him in our family, and we definitely have some good memories and things to share and reminisce about and encourage each other in those times. But that would be my biggest role model, at least from my life. And how about you guys?
Just from the stories that you've told me about your father, Luba, I would jump on that same train. Like, get a chance to sit down with her and hear just stories about her dad. Like, the way he carried himself, the way he sought God in every situation, and just the circumstances he was in the midst of is so interesting. So I really recommend text Luba, get a chance to hear it. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really true.
After. No, just kidding. Sorry, Pavel, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's really true what Sana was saying and you're saying. It's like whenever we have during home group, whenever you start talking about your dad, it's like everyone just shuts up and like their eyes are like glued when you're telling a story. It's really cool. Yeah.
Just a quick note, when he was actually a youth pastor at once, but everybody would come over and they're like, so is your dad like really scary? We're like, we don't think he's scary, but a lot of people were kind of like, oh my gosh, he looks so serious. I'm like, guys, he jokes around too much. Like, just settle down, just give him a chance. But they were like, can he be my dad? I'm like, no, settle down. He's got, kids, that's enough for him. But
I don't know, but I think it's unfair to really use family, because like, man, I agree. Like, who made a big difference if it's not your parents, right? Like, I think that's a huge, like, I would say my mom made more of an impact on my life than my dad, but nonetheless, I think parents make a big impact. But here's the thing, I want to ask: what about people that are not your family? And Jesus is not. It cannot be an option, because everyone can say Jesus. Sana.
Whoa. My pastor telling me Jesus cannot be an option.
Okay, do not use that out of context.
I'm screen recording right now.
fine. Someone outside of the family, so his name is Pastor Slavic. And
No, that's still part of the family.
still part of the family. no.
So outside of church family, I mean, come on.
No, people that like normally are not your immediate family, or obviously all of us could say Jesus because he literally changed everything. But
Yeah.
It's hard.
Paul, you should have somebody.
Well, I've already said you like for every time this question has come up in the past. So I'm not gonna say you anymore. But I mean, honestly, you really have had an impact on me.
Well, thank you.
Of truth into my
That's
life.
not the answer I was looking for, but okay. No, but like somebody that maybe, I mean, do you guys have anybody like in history? I think one of the people that impacted me the most when it comes to my faith, because I think different people impact you differently in different like areas of your life, right? When it comes to my faith, I think David Wilkerson, I think that's someone who really has impacted me in my faith.
Wait, are we doing historical figures or people we actually know?
We know too.
Well, I can claim that I kind of knew David Wilkerson
I shook the hand of John Piper. Yeah, that's.
I don't think that does count, I guess. Anybody else?
I have two individual ladies that have made an impact in my life. I hope they'll see this, but Carolina Maranyuk and Judy Maranyuk, two of the most impactful ladies to this day in my life. From just like a very young age, being a part of Cityhill team and going through youth, they were there through a lot, and those are really remember. Thank you.
Yeah.
And just in youth ministry in general and church ministry, so
yeah, makes sense. Anybody else? Okay, I have a question that I want to put to you guys. This was not in the what's it called plan, but so what do you guys plan to do when you get back to the new normal per se? I know that like we can't even right now do small groups, but like I look forward to obviously see people at our church. But anything specifically you guys crave to do when you get back?
Volleyball.
You can play volleyball by yourself. Like
Not the same, Slavic. It's not the same.
If that's what you do, I'm sorry.
As a matter of fact, the pole with the volleyball that's like tied, and you keep
tether ball.
That's a good game, actually. I really like that one. That's good.
Anybody else? Anything specifically?
Personally, I plan to go back to work because doing that right now. And as nice as this vacation has been, I kind of like going crazy a little bit, and I like working, so that's my plan.
It's really bad when you get excited about going back to work.
A new level.
Everybody hates their jobs, okay?
That's awesome.
I actually plan on throwing a rooftop party in Bellevue and doing live worship. That's what I'm excited.
Yes. We're here.
Hopefully,
Is that gonna be this year?
Yeah, I hope so. Maybe like phase 2, at the end of phase 2.
We'll see.
Invite us.
Yeah. She's like, I don't know about that.
I want to like hug a lot of people without that awkwardness of like, are you hugging yet? Or...
It's really simple. Just don't go around hugging strangers,
I don't hug strangers.
Well, no, but like, I'm just saying.
As a rule of thumb, don't do it.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Well, hey, you can probably still hug people by putting a mask on. Maybe.
Mask hugs. Okay.
Cool.
I want to have dinner with friends.
Ooh, yes.
Where
at?
Anywhere.
Honestly, like
we can go back to Joey's, you guys.
Joey's, yeah.
Guys, actually, speaking of dining out, this has been kind of great. I've been saving a lot of money. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I've been eating at home. I learned how to make avocado toast. And this,
Wow.
yeah.
It's funny because only the white girls are clapping.
I'm not white.
Well, that just escalated. Anyways, next question.
Oh my gosh.
Paul, I have nothing to say.
Hi, work.
I think Paul just froze. I think his live stream just froze. Oh, never mind. He's smiling. So the face froze, except the smile part.
Okay, so our next question is fairly simple, but what words of blessing and encouragement do the people around you need to hear? And how can you be God's messenger of grace in the lives of those people? And that can be people you work with currently, or if you're not working, then your family members, or just how do you stay in touch with friends and how can you encourage friends but because we can't, see each other in person. So how do you still talk to your friends, encourage your friends, provide prayer?
First, you gotta tell us, what are friends right now?
Well,
It seems like I haven't seen people for so long.
It's the same 5 people.
That makes sense, yeah.
And the thing is that, like, I mean, obviously you can do FaceTime and call them and text, but it's so never the same. Like, it's a whole different thing when you go on road trip with somebody, or you go to the park, or somebody at your house, right? Like, I think that's the most depressing thing about this whole quarantine is not being able to just be in person with people, And we thought technology is going to save all that, but it's just like, I think as human beings, we crave to be in person with other people,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think like as well, back to the question before this one.
Yeah.
I'm like thinking about, I mean, most of all, I miss home group. I miss gathering, and I miss that excited anticipation of inviting someone who's never been to church to home group, or, like there's just so much like high kinetic energy, and I miss that.
Yeah.
So
shameless plug in here, but I just want to say that the moment we are given a green light how like we have phases that we're going through, phase 1, phase 2. At the moment, our church is monitoring that really well. So the moment we're allowed to have small groups, we're gonna do that right away. So it might be very, very soon. I'm talking about within a few weeks. So looking forward to that. But I think even now we can still have small groups. I saw people at the park today where they were just sitting like 6 feet apart, but they still work together. So I thought, why don't we do that? Because now we can go to the park, just have small groups with people just sitting far away, right? But still being able to just be together.
I'm down for that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think we're gonna go into our next question. This one I didn't share with you guys beforehand, but I'm sure you guys have answers too. For me personally, during this whole time, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts and just listening to sermons. So I just wanted to see, what are your guys' favorite podcasts and speakers, and maybe share with people that are watching us so they can kind of get into that. And I can actually start, and I can say that my go-to speaker to listen to right now is Timothy Keller.
That's a good one. Yes.
He's really, really good. I really like him. He has a lot of podcasts on marriage, but then he also has a lot of podcasts on faith alone. So that's a really good one. And then another one is actually our friend Jennifer sent me a link a couple days ago to
Jackie Hill.
Huh?
Jackie Hill.
No, it was Tim Delena from Times Square Church.
Oh, that's
And
that's
she,
the new pastor for Times Square Church. Used to be Carter Conlon.
and he's really good. The one that she sent me was it's called In Everything, really, and it's pretty much it's just showing, he's talking about the state of heart of being thankful in any circumstance, and he's really bringing in scripture together. So you guys should definitely listen to it.
For
That's
sure.
awesome.
Yeah.
So I don't think we actually answered the question that Ina had about encouraging people. So anybody else has any thoughts on that? Sorry, did I cut you off, Luba?
No, it's okay. But I can answer about encouraging
Yeah,
as well.
absolutely.
I think that as friends, the best thing we could do is to listen. Sometimes we listen or to respond versus just really listening to what they're going through. And then also just praying for them. I think that's the biggest encouragement we can offer. Oftentimes we think that people will have all the answers for us, and sometimes they do, and sometimes it's encouraging, and most times it's temporary until kind of God does this thing in your heart. But I can truly say that prayer is such a big part of helping your friends get through their life situations. Sometimes one of my friends will text me and she's like, "What do I do?" And I was like, "Pray." And she's like, "You always say that." And I was like, "That's the best answer. I don't know." But yeah, and lots of air hugs and emojis. But phone calls as well, I think help, and just connecting and helping them understand that there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and God's always willing to help them through any situation. But I would say prayer and connecting with them personally and sending ear hugs.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think as well, I think a lot of guys are not like emotionally in touch with themselves. And I notice like something that guys need is just presence of mind, just to be there, you know. I remember actually you, Pastor Slavic, talking about when your brother's wife was passing.
Yeah.
And so many people came up and were like trying to give him
answers.
Like, answers. And he was just so sick of it. He's just like, just stop. Like, don't tell me everything's gonna be all right. Just, you know. And he said that he appreciated you so much because you were just there, you know. And I guess that's kind of hard to do with this Corona thing.
Yeah.
So I guess
Okay,
just
guys.
calling and just being on the line.
Yeah, we have like 9 minutes left, so we want to go through some of the things that encourage you right now with like sermons. I think Ina already mentioned, but you know, I think it'd be really helpful to give some of your best sermons, podcasts, audiobooks that you listen to. Obviously, audiobook, the Bible. But what encourages you guys? I guess I can go because I asked the question, and then you guys can think of it while I'm answering. One of my favorite things to do is I'm doing the audio Bible in a year or 90 days or whatever plan you have. So I'll usually start with that in the morning. But some of the podcasts that I've been listening to, obviously Timothy Keller is one of my favorites. There is a sermon podcast channel, I guess, or podcast called Sermon Index, and it has the best.
That was mine. That's sick. That's what I was going to say.
Yes, it has like the best sermons of the last 100 years.
Oh, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, so it's really good. And the audio is really not that good. I guess I'm excited about this.
Some of them I skip, but some of them I'm like, because you know what? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but like it's like sometimes it's so hard to get into a new preacher because they don't have like any credibility. You don't have any like background on that person, and you're like, who's this guy? What right does he have like to like tell me how to live my life or you know, say put into my life or whatever? And so sometimes when I listen on Sermon on a podcast, I'll listen to like 10 minutes, and if it's like I might skip it, but sometimes I give it a chance, and then like there's been a couple of times where it's like a completely new preacher I'd never heard of, and the sermon like in the last 5 minutes just like it's awesome.
I actually seriously believe that the way you just showed us how you feel, I do believe you actually do that. Like,
True.
I feel like you would do that. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'm listening to this audiobook right now. It's Girl Wash Your Face by Rachel Hollis. And each chapter she talks about a lie that the enemy has tried to convince her of. And every chapter is a lie that the enemy has told her, and then every chapter is her telling you how she's overcome that and just encouraging like other women to overcome that too. So it's really good.
That sounds really cool.
I like it.
Hope there's like a guy version for that.
One podcast that I really enjoy listening to is the Brooklyn Tabernacle, Pastor Jim. And the reason why I really love him, I don't know him personally, but I really love him that he's straight to the point. You could feel the heart when he preaches, and you can tell that he's not trying to like sugarcoat things, but he's also saying it in a loving manner. And he truly is a shepherd of his flock, which is beautiful that he could actually communicate that through his sermons.
Yeah. Did you freeze? You look like you froze. She looked like she froze.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. But on that, Jim Cymbala actually has one of my favorite I have like a list of my top 10 sermons ever, and Jim Cymbala is like number 3 on there.
Yeah.
And he it's the sermon is called My House Shall Be Called the House of Prayer. Just Google that. It's such a fire sermon. I've listened to it like 4 times, and that's like, dude, I don't even watch movies more than once, like, you know.
Paul, all I'm gonna say about that is for all of you who sit in choir, it's not if you on your note, but why you are on your note. Remember that? He has this like powerful like ending to that sermon that just like, I listened to that sermon over and over and over, bro. I love that sermon.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
So that's cool. Anybody else?
I've been doing 2 things. I've been reading a really good book, and it's called The Emotionally Healthy Leader. And it just talks about how to take a Sabbath and the importance of Sabbath and being an emotionally healthy leader in church. So it's a really interesting approach. It's really diving deep into things that you don't want to hear about yourself or like want to know. And then I've also been just podcasting recently. This church called TGC Grace or Trinity Grace Church in Williamsburg, New York, and the pastor is Tyler Staton. I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but he's a really good, just theologically, like the way he just speaks is just so like practical, and I love it. It's just straight to the point. And he does like series where he talks about Jesus to pray or grace abounds, topics like that, and it's just so practical, and I love how he's just so to the point.
What's his name?
Tyler Staton. He taught at Liberty University. Really good.
Hey guys, we have like 3 minutes left, and I want to kind of just maybe whoever's watching on Facebook and YouTube, just want to kind of give you guys an idea of how we're going to proceed forward once we're able to open up. And one thing that we really are hoping to do with Rewritten in general is to really focus on small groups for the first couple months. So once we're able to gather with 5 people, we will be meeting with 5 people. And then the moment they allow us to go to, I think the next phase is like 50 people, then at that point we'll have other larger sort of groups together. But we're really hoping to go to small groups right away and be able to kind of regroup again, because I know a lot of people have been, it's been really difficult. And I think as two things can happen. Either when we open up, a lot of people are going to rush into church, or a lot of people will, go away sort of and not attend the way they used to attend. Our goal is to be there for people personally. As far as rewritten services, we're hoping to obviously have them at some point, but we gave up our location, so now we no longer have a building. So if you guys see anywhere we can meet up and rent, let us know. But yeah, I just want to kind of announce that, and but once we get back, we want to make small groups, sort of like the center what we're gonna do everything around. So yeah, what are some things that you guys maybe want to chime in, or any questions or comments on this?
I'm just excited to start meeting up with everyone, whether it's 5 people or 10 or 2. I think that fellowship is really much needed.
Yeah, and nobody really knows what's going to look like yet right now. It's more like, hey, we're trying to do our best with, following guidelines, but at the same time, being able to meet up and, be there for people. So, we will get through this, and I'm looking forward to seeing everyone in person.
For sure.
Anybody wants to maybe lead us in prayer before we close out?
I can do that.
Awesome. Yeah, go ahead, man, and then just lead us in prayer.
Father, we thank you so much for the gift of fellowship. We thank you that we have fellowship with you, with your son, Jesus. We thank you that because of what you did, we can have fellowship with you and with one another. God, speedily allow us to gather together once more, Lord. We long for FaceTime, Lord, real FaceTime, not through devices, Lord. God, we just want to encounter you in and through other people. And Lord, I pray that right now you would just give everybody the strength to make it through till that time. In Jesus' name, everybody said.
Amen.
Amen.
Well, join us. In about a week and a half, we're gonna have regular service live streamed. We're hoping to do this more often because I think it'd be great to kind of connect with people. And if you want to join us, just let us know. Any last comments you guys want to make?
So, dude.
To all that joined here on Zoom and participated, and all who watched us and will watch us
in the future.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. God bless you guys, and take